Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pandora. Today we're taking a look at the game Borderlands 2. Now, Borderlands 2 has received universal acclaim throughout the gaming media. The question is, does it deserve it? Well, we're about to find out today. Let's get things started with the gameplay. Now, the gameplay of Borderlands 2 is your basic first-person shooter. It's a point-and-shoot interface. However, what makes it different from other games in the same FPS genre are the customizables. This is including class mods, grenade mods. Class mods change the way your character plays, gives you some different powers. Grenade mods change how your grenades act, obviously. And color schemes just change the way you look to other players. The really unique thing about the Borderlands series are the extra powers that each player gets. They are varied and really add something to replays of the game as you want to see what each other's power does. The only real complaint I have is that this game is clearly geared towards multiplayer. This makes single player way more difficult than it needs to be. This is something that could have easily been fixed with a difficulty setting, but as the game was literally geared towards multiplayer, I'm not going to hold it against it too much. Overall, Borderlands 2 earns a 9 out of 10. I consider it a really great game to have a few friends over and play, but if you're playing it by yourself, it's not going to do as great for you. Next up, let's take a look at the graphics. And the graphics of Borderlands 2 are a cel-shaded look, which looks pretty good for what they're trying to do, and it displays well, so you can know what you're doing to each enemy, if an enemy is weak or something, or if it's light to something, which works well. Compared to the last game, there are a variety of enemies. In Borderlands 1, there was really only 10 enemies that have been reskinned over and over again. Ultimately, this game also has very detailed environments, and it really looks different than other games in the same genre, which does add a little bit to your wanting to play the game. Overall, I give the graphics of Borderlands 2 an 8 out of 10. It's cel-shading, but it's cel-shading done right. It adds a really fun element to the game, and it almost makes it seem like more of a cartoon than a video game. Next up, let's take a look at the soundtrack. In all honesty, the songs in Borderlands 2 are basically average. They're basic gaming fare. There's nothing that's really going to sit out that you're going to want to put on your iPod and listen to later. However, the voice acting is where this game really shines. They are top-notch. Even random dialogue makes you want to stop fighting and listen to what they have to say. On top of that, the humor is clever and thought out. It's not all just cheesy toilet humor like comedies have become nowadays. Granted, there are some moments where that's there, but it's not overwhelming the game. And so overall, I give the soundtrack of Borderlands 2 an 8 out of 10. The music is average, but the voice acting really puts it over the top. Next up, let's take a look at the story. If you played Borderlands 1, you'll know that it really wasn't a story-driven game, with more of a tech demo to show off different guns and how many they could make. In this game, the story is much deeper and fleshed out to give you a real gaming experience. Your villain, Handsome Jack, is one of the best villains I've seen in gaming in a little while. He's funny, but more than being funny, he also makes you really want to continue the game. Now, the game starts right at the end of Borderlands 1. When the vault is opened at the end of the first game, Iridium begins to form in Pandora. This is where Handsome Jack and Hyperion come in. They want the Iridium for themselves. And it doesn't matter who they have to kill to get it, whether it's your character, the Vault Hunters from the last game, or even an entire settlement that's being called Sanctuary. Going toe-to-toe with Jack is really what the game is about. It's your forces against his forces, over and over again. And though that may not sound as awesome as it is, trust me, it's worth a playthrough. It's worth a couple playthroughs. More than that, this game has a couple moments if you played the first game which are legitimately emotional moments. Which any game that can do that is actually really good. So overall, I give the story of Borderlands 2 a 10 out of 10. It's perfect storytelling. The humor's great, the action's great, the sad bits are great, it's all great. Last, let's take a look at customer care. Now, Gearbox has received a well-deserved honor of being called the Gamers Company, because they put people over profits in most things. In fact, there were only 1 or 2 glitches in the entire game, and they involved cutscenes, where when you would trigger a cutscene, the screen would be black and you would hear the cutscene. That only happened to me twice in all the time I played the game. But otherwise, I found no other issues, no UI problems. Otherwise, the game was designed perfectly, and they've handled it very well. And so overall, I give customer care an 8 out of 10. Gearbox has really done well here, and it really shows other game companies how you want to do things to put gamers first. Overall, Borderlands 2 earned a 43 out of 50. It is a top-shelf, A-list title. If you own a system that plays it, you should own it. I believe even if you hate first-person shooters, this one may convert you. That's it for this review. For more like it and anything else gamer-related, please head over to HoldTheLine.com. Until next time, my name is Vega-Goose, saying when life's got you down, throw it into God mode and keep kicking ass. I'll see you next time.